WEEI Late Night with KJ on EEI.
Listen, bro, there's not 32 guys better than me. So you're asking me, like, bro, I'm not 32. Like, real talk. Like, I'm like, when you put it like that, bro, I'm not the 32 worst. Like, come on, man.
Let me see you 1-2 step. Let me see you throw the ball, Cam, actually. KJ Late Night on WEEI, part of the WEEI Sports Radio Network, 617-779-7937. That's just a little bit of a hint. A little bit, I'll get into it in a second, of what Bill's master plan in his mind may be. I'll tell you what that is. Mike in Springfield, you're on WEEI, man. Thanks for calling.
Hey, what up, man?
You, man.
Do you hear your quarterback? Was that Cam Newton?
Yeah, that was Cam Newton talking that he doesn't think that 30 seconds, 32 seconds, 32 seconds. I don't know. I'm not going to get on him about the grammar the way I get on him about his...
Anyway, bottom line is, congratulations with the signings, but you still ain't got a quarterback. And you know what? If there was a good quarterback to be signed today with the rest of these seven, he would have got signed. He's not out there. You guys are done. There'll be no beating the Bills. There'll be no winning the AFC East. There'll be nothing but the small table at Thanksgiving, because that's what Brady left you guys at.
Do you know what happens at the small table at Thanksgiving? They laugh at the adults. You ever notice that? Because they know they have something up their sleeve.
Listen, I've been waiting for this for at least 15 years.
I hope that's not the only thing you've been waiting for 20 years.
No, but I knew when Brady left, it's over, and it's going to stay over.
Well, the good news is Thanksgiving will return this year. Mike, thanks for the call.
Good news.
All right. Yeah, the kids' table at Thanksgiving, they actually have the most fun. It's the adults who start talking politics and ruin your food. No one at the small table talks politics Thanksgiving. Nobody. They tease each other about who has a girlfriend, who doesn't. You know, did you meet them on Tinder? That's what goes on at the kids' table at Thanksgiving. The adult table, yeah, I've been there for a few years. It can be kind of boring. Fights break out, arguments. Why didn't you return the money I loaned you?
That's boring?
Yeah, the adults table at Thanksgiving. Oh gosh, I still sometimes go to the kids table just to remind myself that I have a beating heart. Bill went to the kids table, went and spent frivolously. Remember your first year of college? Send money. I'm hungry. My dad would always say, "Well, where's your meal card?" When I knew all the time I was really looking for real money to go down to the student union to get like a real hamburger. Yeah, the kids table. So I just played Sierra's 1-2 step, and I think I've given it away. So imagine the conversation that Bill has had, and there's no factual basis to this. Again, these is all hypotheses. They're educated guesses, meaning that you're taking a stab at something with a little bit of information behind you. There's still $40 million left on this season's cap to spend. You know what Russell Wilson's number is this year? $19 million. Now, let me take you to the Carson Wentz deal. Remember, I was like, oh, my God, Carson Wentz deal is just absolutely horrible. It's $34 million. Well, they kind of adjudicated some of that split on who would split some of the cap hit. The cap goes up another $30 million next year thanks to the TV deal. So if you're Bill Belichick, you say, you know what, Cam, I'm going to bring you back. Your money's not going to look like a starter, but I'm probably going to say this. I'm now talking as KJ. If there's one quarterback that Cam Newton would have no problem backing up and take the deal that he's taken, is Russell Wilson. Oh, KJ, you say bird in the hand, bird in the bush. You'd have to make a trade for him. The Bears tried to make a trade for him. They said they weren't moving off of him. You ever play Texas Hold'em poker? This is where they show you the cards. And that's what Russell Wilson did. But it doesn't show you all the cards, right? Because the last card that comes down is the river. So he tells you, hey, the Cowboys are on my radar. But he's probably doing that as a favor to himself and a bigger favor to Dak Prescott. See, because if you're not going to sign me, you're going to have to take Dak Prescott. Worked out for Dak Prescott. Cowboys off the list. The Saints? Yeah, you already signed Taysom Hill. You've got to work that out. And you just signed Jameis Winston and you're Sean Payton. You say these two guys are going to compete for the quarterback spot. And you're so far over the cap. Russell Wilson knew that. The Bears. I don't know how many people have jumped into Lake Michigan right now over the last several hours with the signing of Andy Dalton. You know what that says? Russell Wilson was never really serious. In the card game, they call that a bluff. The Raiders, you're like, well, you know, they have assets. They could trade Derek Carr. They could give up some picks. You'd have to ask yourself, why would Russell Wilson go to the AFC West, play Justin Herbert and Pat Mahomes twice just to get out of that division? That's not a win-win. Russell Wilson wants to go to the AFC. This is the card he hasn't really shown you, but that's the one he tipped his hand with the Raiders. He wants to go to the AFC. Why? He's not getting out of the NFC with Tom Brady, you know, pretty much putting on an all-star benefit concert for the NFL down in Tampa. That's in essence what it is. You know, it's like Live Aid or We Are the World is what's going on at Tampa right now. Russell Wilson doesn't want any part of that. And when you're up in Seattle, it's kind of remote. You've got Aaron Donald chasing you twice in a season. He's getting out of the NFC. So you'd say, well, where could he potentially go? Now remember, Bill has $40 million. Did you see what happened in Seattle today? Shaquille Griffin bounced. Defensive back. Cornerback. Guess what? A trade chip that is sitting here in New England. Stephon Gilmore. Pete Carroll loves defense. You think the relationship between Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson has gotten better ever since he says in his headset, no, audible out of handing off to Marshawn Lynch on the 2-yard line. Audible out of that. It's been a bad relationship ever since. Again, Russell Wilson's salary is $19 million and an additional $13 against the cap because it's been paid out as a guaranteed bonus already. So you can split that cost. Now you hear a lot of people say, well, his wife Sierra, she wants to restart her career. Did you see the Grammys Sunday night? You think a mother of three and Russell Wilson's wife is going to be performing next to Cardi B? No. She's enjoying motherhood. And in fact, if she was going to relaunch her career as an R&B singer, let's face it, she'd go back to Atlanta. They're not going back to Atlanta. Russell Wilson is a classic man. Some would say he's well-spoken, well-dressed, neatly prepared. Children, lovely family, wife. You start to think about where you want to put your kids to school. You're thinking about, hey, this may be the last 3 to 5 years of my career. Where would I want to do this? And where would I want my family to most likely benefit? Now I'm about to sound like a tourist brochure. Welcome to New England. Some of the best boarding schools, education, hospitals. It's the reason why I came back here. I have a child with cerebral palsy. True story. Daughter gets sick in the month of December of 2019. They're like, you don't know who Dr. So-and-so is? Happens to be the world-renowned specialist in what my daughter has. You come to New England for those things. Guess what? Russell Wilson's father, some of you may know him, played at Dartmouth. So here's Russell Wilson, a classic man, educated guy, very likable, would fit the New England cusp and the feel of the place. Wife and children, good schools. Education matters to the Wilson family. You don't think I'm telling you what it's on some people's minds? Here's Adam Schefter earlier about what the Patriots still may do in free agency.
We are one day into free agency, And there are still a lot of good players out there right now. There are still players who could be traded. We still expect them at some point, whether it's via trade, via the draft, via free agency, to bring in another quarterback as well. And so this is just a tasting, a sampling of what they were doing. But clearly they made a statement. This was the most unusual day in the offseason history of the Patriots that we've seen in recent memory with how busy they were. Very atypical.
As the song goes, this meet is automatic, systematic. Watch me do my 1-2 step. That's what Bill's doing. Day one, I mean, he just punched the entire face in the entire league in the face. Effectively. Day two, oh yeah, by the way, I got what people consider the best tight end in this free agency. I just got the second one yesterday. So with Russell Williams, $19 million. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Do you know what Russell Wilson can do in 2022? He could tear up his deal and sign a new one. Why wouldn't he consider the Patriots? Why wouldn't you say, here's pick number 15, here's Stephon Gilmore, here's the number 1 pick next year, here, take a second-round pick this year? Why not? And then with the cap going up an additional $30 million next year? Wow. 617-779-7937 or the text line 37937. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how do I turn my head effectively, like I'm moving the screen this way. Now I'm reading it sideways. It's like one of those 3D things that you look at. You like, if you look at it down the side, the words would come out. I don't know. So I'm looking at some of the comments here. If the salary cap goes up next year, the Pats will have $70 million to spend. Yeah, Russell, let's go ahead and tear up that contract, and we can give you $30 million a year and still have $30+ million to play around with. 401 text line says, KJ, bro, I had to pull over. I was thinking the same thing. I guess what kind of scares me about that is I'm always thinking. But thanks for the text. From a 774 number. I like the signings of Judon, Smith, and Henry, but I like to see them re-sign James White and J.C. Jackson. You know, the James White situation, I think that's kind of a tug and pull at like a ground level between Tom and Bill. I'll get into some of the free agent names that you might hear pop up here in a couple. But James White, you know, when I looked at like the running back class, there's one that's out there that kind of jumps out, but it's nothing really sexy. So I could see where you're saying with James White. And plus, he would be the one most likely to catch a ball in the air from Cam Newton at this point. Right? Because, well, no, we saw him draw him at the feet of, hey, don't run too close to the sideline, James, this time. Someone saying Bill needs to stop getting these big fat guys on the defensive line. He needs to draft or sign athletic defensive time to trade N'Keal Harry and get whatever you can for him. And someone says, I just saw Bill doing the 1-2 step and they laughed. Thank you. My wife does not think I am humorous at all, but that's why I married her. She just laughed at all my jokes. Next thing you know, the milkman's at the back door. I hate his jokes. Let me go to Paul in Westfield, and he wants to talk about the Patriots pass rushers. Go ahead, man. You're on WEEI.
KJ, as The Rock would say, oh, classy Freddie Blassie. Yo, pencil neck geeks, look what I signed. A 6'4", 250-plus brick wrecking machine. And laying the smacketh down it with the 2 wide receivers.
Do you want me to scream? Yeah. The giant stud! The giant stud! I'm sorry.
That's right! You know what's funny, KJ? You don't 20-year destroy everyone and then suddenly not add. This is something you have to realize from a perspective of a buyer. When I'm at the auction, I make the money when I buy the car because I buy low and I buy right, and then I collect it when I sell. Bill's been waiting till everything was right, and he saved his money, just like you said. And lo and behold, to the idiots who said, Belichick didn't plan for this, or COVID and 10 holdouts have never happened, nobody planned for it. And now he's doing the right thing. And KJ, please, pray that the Cam we saw in the first 2 games, and yes, sir, you're 100% right. He went to the left, he went to the well one too many times. However, with no preseason and a first-time offensive line, they almost beat Seattle. Yeah. So my point is, if those first 2 games were not a mirage, and he has weapons, and he's not after COVID affected, who knows? Could we absolutely pray that The only thing better than Tom's Ring 7 is Brady versus Belichick. Could that happen?
It almost feels like it would be its own WrestleMania, you know. The throwdown at the... I don't know. There's nothing that rhymes with Foxborough. It's very hard to do that. Joe in Saugus, thanks for calling WEEI, man. You're on the air. What's up?
Hey, KJ. You're making a lot of valid points tonight about Russell Wilson. I have to agree with you 100%.
It's shocking, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know your stuff, let me tell you.
Well, thanks, Joe, and thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it. Here's something I will tell Brian DeFelice, working the boards.
Yes, sir.
I believe in setting up my hype men. When I come in here, I like to show you guys love. I like to pull out my wallet and say, you know what? You keep your money while we're here at the club. You know, just tip the girl nicely. She's got college. She's got class. She's got biology tomorrow. I don't like being adversarial to the callers, right? Because in this day and age where you don't have to pick up the phone and call anybody, I appreciate it. So I'll let you speak your mind. And plus, you know, how does it really come off? Me, you know, being kind of a bully. That's not a whole lot of fun. If you're going to be wrong, you can be wrong. You can be right, you can be right. Russell Wilson at $19 million with $13 already paid out in bonus could be Bill's secret weapon up his sleeve. And if it happens, give me that Sierra one more time. You got it? I'm sorry, I just yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Russell Wilson. Number 3. Godkowski, you're going to have to give that up because Sierra! I'm telling you right now, we will all be dancing in Pat's Nation if Bill Belichick pulls off the MasterCard and gets Russell Wilson, who, just the same way, is a more versatile, better armed Cam Newton. Get him to his tight ends. He rolls out. Doesn't matter who your receiver is on the outside. They'll get open. All right, coming up next, the Bruins, man. I don't know what, ever since they were out in Lake Tahoe, when they were in Lake Tahoe, it was just like, yeah. They came back, the Washington game happened, the Wilson hit happened, and then it just got ugly. Plus, Brian DeFelice, man, we're going to discuss your article on because last night I saw you were typing angrily.
Yes. Well, I was typing angrily because...
Let's get to it next.
Okay. Well, there's also one from tonight, too, which is a little bit more updated.
Because, yeah, when you win, there's less anger on the keyboard.
Well, you can choose. You want to talk about the article where I'm...
We'll talk about the article because I see some numbers of what might be the problem with the Bruins outside of, you know, the eye test. But there are some things that I'm seeing. I'm like, wait a minute. For a team that characteristically is ahead of the league on some things, they're really behind on some things, and I found the nuggets.
Great. Well, fill me in because I forget what I wrote, so we'll do that next.
Thanks for hanging out. WEEI Late Night with KJ, 617-779-7937. All right, folks, thank you so much for checking in. I'll try to do these as often as I can to say hello, kind of get a peek in to see what's going on here. I got to say shout out to my alma mater, the men's 4x400 relay team, #1 in the nation, not in the MEAC, not just in the conference or regionals, #1 in the country. So Aggies do, and sometimes they do it very fast around the track. So have a great Tuesday. I'm here this week. 10 p.m. to midnight, 93.7 WEEI in Boston, or on the radio.com app. Just type in WEEI, 10 p.m. Eastern. I know some people have checked out from across the country, and so I'd love for you to just stop on through, and I'll try and do these as often as possible. So thank you again so much. Have a great evening. Don't be fooled. This is literally still the winter time. So just because you saw the sun, past 6, go down after 6 o'clock doesn't mean it's still cold. All right, be good. Take care.